So this story starts with a girl named Mona, and when I say cute, I mean illegal levels of adorable. Like, ignoring her should be a crime. Everyone's obsessed with her. Guys? Simps. Girls? Also simps. Mona basically walks around with unintentional mind control. But then, our boy shows up. A certified Chad named Kudwa. And here's the twist. Mona's looks? Do absolutely nothing to this guy. 0 damage. No crit hit. No emotional loss. Naturally, Mona takes this as a personal insult to her entire existence. She tries again and again to hit Kudwa with her cute girl special attack, but instead of getting flustered, this man Uno reverses the situation and somehow Mona ends up being the one emotionally wounded. Now rewind to the beginning. We start in a hospital where a bunch of babies are born, and every single one of them is staring at baby Mona, who grows up into an insanely cute kid. Everyone wants to play with her, but no one even tries to hide from her during games. The boys are like, yeah, Mona, just catch us already. Fast forward a few years, Mona grows up, and somehow becomes even prettier. Like, she walks to school and people are taking emotional damage left and right. No one can ignore her. Everyone greets her. Even the girls are fans. But then in class, there's one guy who doesn't say good morning. Yep, it's Kudwa. He's new at the school, so Mona goes full nice girl mode and says, if you need anything, just tell me. And the guy's sitting behind her? Instant jealousy. Pure salt. Mona even throws in a little charm attack, and the other dudes are already down bad. But Kudwa just looks at her like, huh? Was that supposed to be something? Bro, Mona's confidence gets deleted. Then Kudwa casually says, don't talk to me. And that's it. Mona's soul leaves her body. She's thinking, back in the day, everyone liked me. Everyone wanted to date me. So who is this guy? Mad, confused, and slightly traumatized, Mona runs off and starts plotting revenge. Her plan? Classic anime move make Kudwa look up her skirt, but Kudwa just casually walks past like a speedrunner skipping cutscenes. Next scene, everyone's doing basketball stretching, and Mona tells Kuro to look at her. But instead of confidence, she suddenly gets super shy, and the boys immediately start teasing her. Game starts, and Mona's like, alright, new plan. She pretends she's tired, lifts up her shirt a bit, and casually shows her belly button. The boys? Absolutely destroyed. But Kuro? Still nothing. Bro just walks away saying, purify your soul, this is all just worldly illusion. This man is running a monk build. Next scene, Kuro is washing his head, and Mona shows up again. She genuinely cannot believe how someone can ignore her charms like this. She starts drinking water, and for the first time ever, Kuro actually looks at her. Mona notices immediately and thinks, oh, so you are human. So she turns the difficulty up. She puts her hand on the tap, gets her shirt wet on purpose, and suddenly everything underneath becomes very visible. Kuro completely loses his composure. Mona gets embarrassed too, thinking, wait, did I just ruin myself? But then, Kuro takes off his own shirt and throws it to her. Now Mona's the one turning red. Kuro starts leaving, and Mona quietly thanks him. But the entire scene? Yeah, it was witnessed by a girl named Haruno. Oh. Next day, Kuro is on his way to school, when two guys stop him and start questioning him. They're like, why do you treat Mona like that? She just wants to be friends. Kuro ignores them too and walks away like an NPC who finished his dialogue. Later that evening, Kuro explains to them that he's never had a girlfriend. Where he lives, there are only old people around. No girls. No interaction. Nothing. Girls like Mona? He's only seen them on TV. So he keeps telling himself, I have to stay in control, or I'll fall for her. Bro is surviving purely on imagination at this point. Next day, Mona returns Kuro's shirt and says she washed it. Kuro replies, why'd you even do that? Were you trying to steal my scent? Now he gets embarrassed and immediately says, purify your soul. This is all illusion. Later, they have art class. Mona starts striking pose after pose so Kuro can draw her. But nope, still no reaction. She tries another pose. Fails again. Then she remembers Kuro was looking at her from the side when she was drinking water. So she ties her hair up and gives a side profile pose. Everyone in class takes damage. Even Kuro turns red. But this guy immediately does mental push-ups. And purifies his thoughts again. Now everyone starts drawing. Meanwhile, Reino keeps staring at Mona. Mona notices. Reino keeps glancing again and again, and it distracts Mona. So she asks Kuro, what part are you drawing right now? Kuro replies calmly, your neck. And Mona's brain just shuts down. She starts thinking, he's drawing my neck. He's staring at it non-stop? He hasn't blinked even once. She gets so embarrassed that she freezes mid-pose, then suddenly runs out of the classroom, straight to the bathroom. In the bathroom, Mona's losing her mind. She's thinking, whenever I look at him, he doesn't even notice me, but just now, he wouldn't take his eyes off me for even a second. What kind of sorcery is this? Back in class, the drawings are finished, and the guys start praising Kudwa's art skills like he just dropped a masterpiece. Next scene, library. Kudwa reaches for a book, and his hand accidentally touches Mona's. Mona immediately says, oh, I wanted that book too. Let's read it together. Smooth, right? Nope. Kudwa straight up refuses and walks away. Mona? Absolutely triggered. That's when she notices Haruno, quietly watching her again. Later, the boys are in a bad mood because Mona is always around Kuro. And in the background, Haruno is watching them, blushing. Mona connects the dots and panics. Wait, is Haruno blushing because of Kuro? What if they end up as boyfriend and girlfriend? No, absolutely not. No one is allowed to look at Kudwa except me. So Mona switches to jealous mode. She puts on glasses and sits right in front of Kadwa. Kadwa instantly turns red because yeah, Mona looks way too good. Seeing this, Mona starts acting up. She starts tickling his legs under the desk. Kadwa is fighting for his life, trying to stay calm. Then Mona asks, "So, what do you think about me?" Kadwa snaps back, "Purify your mind. Purify your soul." "Mona, you're kicking me. I'm leaving." Plan failed. Mona goes insane internally. Meanwhile, Haruno is super embarrassed, and Mona notices. And that's when it hits her, is she happy that Kuro left? Now Mona is officially spiraling. Next scene, Mona starts keeping an eye on Haruno. She sees Haruno watering the school plants. Then she sees her cleaning the classroom board without being asked. Mona thinks, wait, is Haruno an actual angel? Perfect body, perfect behavior, and now she's convinced, yeah, she's definitely going to steal Kadwa. Mona's jealousy meter explodes. Then a guy named Sho brings Mona her lunch that she ordered. Mona thanks him and says, "See? I don't talk like this with Kadwa." She decides, if I can't beat him with my looks, I'll defeat him with words. Next scene, school terrace. Mona's handkerchief flies away in the wind, but Kadwa catches it. She thanks him, and just as she's about to say more, her brain crashes. No words come out. Suddenly, a gust of wind lifts Mona's skirt. Kadwa immediately looks away, clearly embarrassed. Mona yells, "Pervert." Kadwa replies, "I didn't see anything." Mona runs off, panicking. She thinks, I have to hurry, or Kadwa is going to slip out of my hands. Next scene, students are being selected as committee members for the school festival through rock paper scissors. Everyone loses, except Haruno. Then Mona's turn comes and she also gets selected. Now these two rivals have to work together. They discuss plans. Haruno suggests things like a maid cafe, a play, or a haunted house. Mona suggests a costume cafe for her class. Haruno gets super excited, thinking Mona would look insanely cute in different costumes. But Mona? She's not feeling the happiness. She's thinking, we're stuck in a love triangle, and she's smiling like nothing's wrong. Does she not see me as an enemy? And that's where the tension really begins. Mona's pencil suddenly snaps in half, so Haruno lends her one. But at the same time, Haruno quickly hides her phone, like she's protecting a national secret. And obviously, now Mona really wants to know what's inside that phone. She starts following Haruno around and straight up says, "Stay away from Kadwa." Things escalate, they start running, and Mona accidentally trips and falls right on top of Haruno. The phone drops. Mona picks it up, and checks it. And surprise, the phone is full of Mona's photos. Turns out Haruno has taken over 300 pictures of Mona. Haruno breaks down crying and admits she admires Mona a lot, and that's why she hid her phone. Even worse, Mona herself is Haruno's lock screen wallpaper. Hearing this, Mona realizes, wait, she wasn't staring at Kadwa, she was staring at me. Haruno apologizes, but Mona hugs her and says it's fine. Then Mona casually adds, oh, and that, stay away from Kadwa thing? I didn't mean it. But now Haruno understands everything. She realizes Mona likes Kadwa. Haruno mentions how embarrassed she felt when Mona was wearing Kadwa's shirt. Mona tries to deny it, but Haruno isn't buying it. She just smiles and says, it's okay. And that somehow makes Mona even more frustrated. Next scene, festival prep begins. Haruno tells Mona that her sister suggested borrowing costumes for the festival. Mona notices Kadwa nearby, but he doesn't look at her at all. Haruno tells Mona, if you want Kadwa's attention, you should do something. Mona says, it's not like that, but inside, she's panicking. Wait, do I actually like Kadwa? No, this is just a misunderstanding. I want him to fall for me, not the other way around. They start looking at costumes together. Haruno suggests Mona try a maid outfit. Mona says, maybe another day. Then Haruno tells her a school festival legend. Apparently, there's a spot on campus where if a couple holds hands, they'll end up together forever. Meaning, Mona could do this with Kadwa. Mona gets flustered. Before things go further, someone calls Haruno away, and Mona makes up her mind. At this festival, I'm making Kadwa fall for me. Festival day arrives. Mona tries everything. Maid costume, ghost costume, police outfit, butler outfit. Nothing feels right. Finally, she brings out the ultimate weapon, the bunny costume, Japan's most dangerous outfit. Right then, Kadwa shows up. Mona freezes from embarrassment. Kadwa hides his face, hands her the flyers, and tries to act normal. Mona panics. If someone sees us like this, it's over. So she pulls Kadwa aside to hide. And of course, Haruno walks in. Now Mona and Kadwa are standing way too close. The tension spikes. Both of them turn red. Mona tries backing away. Kadwa starts mentally chanting his "Purify the Soul" mantra. But every breath he exhales goes straight toward Mona's face. Then another girl suddenly shows up and drags Haruno away. The coast is clear. They step back outside. Mona thinks, alright, this time he has to be affected. But Kadwa still looks calm. Then, right as he's leaving, he stops and says, Mona, you looked really cute, and walks away. Meanwhile Mona's heart, going absolutely crazy. Doki Doki intensifies. Mona runs off, and Kadwa just stands there thinking, did I really just call Mona cute? Bro immediately starts purifying his soul and resetting his brain like he broke some sacred rule. Next day, Mona shows up at school and says, "Good morning." Kadwa replies, "Yeah, morning happened." Romance level, emotional buffering. Now the school festival finally begins. A bunch of little kids show up, and Mona and Kadwa start taking orders at their cafe. Mona is pulling customers in with pure cuteness alone. The cafe is packed. They finally get a break, and Mona thinks, this is it. Quality time. But Kadwa refuses to take a break. Instead, he tells Mona to eat something and just eats leftover food from the orders himself. Mona's internally screaming, "Why is this man ignoring me this hard?" So she does what any anime girl would do. She puts bunny ears on Kadwa's head. Perfect. Right then, Haruno shows up and orders both of them to take a break. Mona is instantly happy. Haruno even says, "Go enjoy yourselves." So they step outside. Mona's thinking, what do I even do now? Meanwhile, Kadwa is super interested in the haunted house. Mona is scared, but she agrees anyway. Inside the haunted house, a ghost jumps out and scares Mona. Kadwa, unbothered, man is sightseeing. Then Mona's skirt gets stuck on something. She tells Kadwa to help her, but he's completely in his own world. When Kadwa finally turns around, both of them instantly get embarrassed. Meanwhile, Haruno is somewhere else overthinking so hard she ends up eating pancakes just to cope. Back to Mona, she's losing patience. What do I do now? Next scene, ice cream stand. A little ice cream gets on Mona's cheek. Cute moment, right? Nope. Some random bird swoops in and steals her entire ice cream. Nature said, not today. Next, they go to a concert. Mona can't see anything, so she asks Kadwa to lift her up, but she accidentally grabs some completely different guy. Awkward, they move on again. Mona plays with a balloon. It pops. Another plan destroyed. At this point, Mona is defeated. The festival is almost over. Then she notices something. A lot of couples are standing at that legendary spot Haruno told her about, the place where couples hold hands and become destined lovers. Meanwhile, people start whispering, wait, is Mona on the bridge of love? That can only mean one thing, she's on a date with that guy. Mona instantly switches to damage control. She spins Kadwa around and starts advertising their cafe loudly. She saves the situation so well that people think they're just there for cafe promotion. Then Mona tells Kadwa about the legend and casually touches his hand. Kadwa turns red and immediately tries to leave. That's when Mona pulls out her final move. She pretends to trip. Now Kadwa has to grab her hand, right? Wrong. This man puts his arm around her and lifts her up like she's a child. Mona is embarrassed beyond recovery. Her plan? Completely ruined. And on top of that, the festival is ending in 1 hour. Time is running out. Mona's standing there thinking, alright, what do I do now? She walks back toward Kadwa, but before anything can happen, some girls call both of them for help because the cafe is getting flooded with customers again. And just like that, the festival ends. Every single one of Mona's plans? Failed. Absolutely cooked. She's visibly sad. Then Haruno notices her and gives her one last task, returning the desks. Haruno tells her, you can still do it. While carrying the desks, Mona can't even look Kadwa in the eyes. She's exhausted, physically and emotionally. She asks him, did you have fun today? Kadwa doesn't really respond. Mona thinks, it was so close. If that last plan worked, everything would have changed. While walking, Mona bumps into some boxes, but Kadwa catches her. Their hands touch. Instant panic. Kadwa quickly pulls away and says, the festival is over. That legend thing won't work anymore. Mona replies, yeah, I know. Then Kadwa says something unexpected. I had a lot of fun today. More than I ever have before. That line hits Mona hard. She gets embarrassed again. Next day at school, they show a bunch of new couples. Mona doesn't buy it at all. My own plan failed. How are these people winning? Then Kadwa walks in. Mona immediately hides like a professional NPC. She greets everyone with good morning, and they head to class together. That's when Sho announces there's a bowling party as the festival wrap up. Haruno will go, but only if Mona goes too. So yeah, they're going bowling. At the alley, Mona bowls first and actually does pretty well. She goes for high fives with everyone. Everyone responds, except Kadwa. Mona says, oh, so you don't want to play with us? Kadwa immediately puts his hand out. Now Mona gets embarrassed. She turns red, doesn't touch his hand, pretends her shoelace is loose, and runs away. During the break, Kadwa's thinking, what am I doing? I came to this school to train my mind. This is part of my discipline. On the other side, Mona gets tired and sits next to him. Kadwa instantly looks away. Meanwhile, Sho is teaching Haruno how to bowl. Mona gets thirsty, and casually drinks from Kadwa's drink. Kadwa's heartbeat spikes. Mona forces herself to finish it. Kadwa turns bright red. Mona says, well, that was basically an indirect kiss. Kadwa replies, I'm not drinking that anymore. It's my turn to bowl. Mona's soul leaves her body. And to make it worse, Kadwa bowls terribly. Not a single good shot. Winter arrives. Mona shows up wearing a sweater, and everyone instantly loses their minds. She tells Kadwa to wear his winter uniform too. He replies, I don't feel cold. Mona just sits down, defeated. Then Sho and Kido pull Kadwa aside. They ask him, what's your problem? Why do you treat Mona like that? she just wants to be friends. Kadwa calmly replies, I'm here to train myself. Sho and Kido respond, bro, you can still be a decent human being. That's part of training too. At least do enough so Mona doesn't get hurt. And that hits harder than any romance move so far. Kadwa comes back, and Haruno runs into him. She tells him, try talking to Mona properly. Some girls nearby see them together and whisper, wait, are they dating? Haruno freaks out and runs away. Kadwa looks behind him and sees Mona helping a teacher. He pauses and thinks, yeah, she's actually a good girl. Next scene, Mona forgets her book. Kadwa offers to share his. Mona instantly turns her desk toward him, but Kadwa slides his desk the other way. Mona is devastated. The tension spikes. Haruno notices and gives Kadwa a death stare. Kadwa panics, slides his desk back toward Mona, and apologizes. Now Mona gets embarrassed. They start sharing the book, and Mona smiles. Kadwa looks at her and thinks, no matter what happens, I can't fall in love with her. Next day, it's raining. Mona still comes to school, completely soaked but happy, because Kadwa has been talking to her more lately. She spots Kadwa standing in a corner. No umbrella. Turns out he gave his umbrella to some soaked stray kittens. Mona tells him to come under her umbrella. Kadwa refuses at first and just stares at her. Then he remembers what Sho and Kido said, so he grabs the edge of her umbrella. Since he's taller, they walk together to school. Mona asks him to come a little closer because his shoulder is getting wet. She touches his hand while adjusting the umbrella. Kadwa steps back and almost crashes into a pole, but Mona grabs him and saves him. They take the longer route past the gym. Inside, AI is playing basketball. She's really good, everyone praises her, but the moment AI sees Kadwa, she trips and falls flat. The ball flies toward Mona but Kadwa blocks it. Mona thanks him. AI apologizes and says, if you're here to watch, go upstairs. You're distracting me. Some girls apologize to Mona for AI's rude attitude. Mona tells Kadwa they should leave, but AI pulls Mona aside. She asks, what's going on between you and Kadwa? Mona replies, he's just my classmate. AI narrows her eyes. You came together under one umbrella. Be honest, are you dating? Mona quickly says no, but AI is clearly upset, because yeah, she likes Kadwa too. Other girls pull AI away before things get ugly. Later, Mona asks Kadwa, have you met that girl before? Kadwa replies, which girl? That's when Mona realizes, AI likes him. Kadwa goes to change clothes. Mona heads to Haruno to learn more about AI. Haruno explains that Asahi is super popular, the star of her team, and amazing at every game. Then another girl casually says, Mona is cute, but Asahi is dangerously beautiful. Everyone loves her. Mona clenches her fist. Doesn't matter who she is. I'm the one who's going to make Kadwa fall for me. Just then, Kido shows up and says, Mona, someone's calling you. And of course it's Asahi. Asahi shows up, clearly ready to finish what she started, but then Kadwa walks in. The moment she sees him, her brain completely shuts down. 0 words. 0 confidence. Then Kadwa casually says, oh, she's actually really good at basketball. That single sentence absolutely crits Asahi. She turns bright red, loses balance, and straight up falls. Yeah, full embarrassment. Kadwa instantly covers his face like a gentleman, but the damage is already done. Asahi's pride gets obliterated, but she clenches her fists and says, I won't lose, and runs away. Mona watches all this and thinks, no one ever challenged me like this before, but Asahi just did. Now Asahi starts secretly watching Mona. Then Kadwa suddenly appears behind her, and Asahi turns red again. Mona immediately takes advantage of the moment, starts talking to Kadwa, and flexes her charm. Asahi watches, getting more and more annoyed. But class starts, and Asahi storms off like she just rage quit the lobby. Kadwa then asks casually, that was Asahi, right? Asahi Sonen? The moment he says her name, Mona internally panics. Bro, he just started showing interest in me, and now this girl appears out of nowhere? Next scene, Asahi is daydreaming about Kadwa. She tells her friend, Mona and Kadwa aren't dating. Her friend replies, then your path is clear. But Asahi admits, whenever I get close to him, I start shaking. Nearby, some guys are looking at inappropriate photos, and Asahi says, gross. Her friend shrugs, that's what guys are into. Cut to basketball time. Mona decides, I'm wiping Asahi out of Kadwa's mind today. Game starts. Sho passes the ball to Kadwa but Kadwa trips while running, and the ball smacks him straight in the face. Absolute tragedy. Mona thinks, alright, guess I'll win his heart myself. She starts playing seriously. Haruno goes crazy cheering for her. Mona lands clean shots, one after another, and carries her team to victory. Everyone praises Mona. Meanwhile Kadwa is holding his face, still recovering from that ball. After the game, Kadwa has to clean the court because he didn't score a single basket. As he's cleaning, Mona goes over to help. But really, she's trying to hit him with her precious charms. Kadwa immediately purifies his mind and starts practicing shots instead. Then Mona moves behind him and starts teaching him how to shoot pressing in close. Kadwa's soul starts leaving his body. And right on cue, Asahi shows up. She sees the scene and asks, what's going on here? Mona replies calmly, I was just teaching him how to shoot. Asahi narrows her eyes. So, you like him? Mona instantly covers Asahi's mouth and says, no, it's not like that. Asahi says, then I'll teach him too. She tells Kadwa to plank with her to strengthen his arms. Kadwa agrees, but immediately starts panicking. His face turns red. His brain malfunctions. Mona notices something's off. Then she realizes, Asahi is putting him in a very distracting position. Mona is not losing this. She planks too. Now Kadwa is officially done. Asahi then tells him, look at me. Kadwa instantly runs away. Later, Asahi is sitting alone, completely embarrassed. She mutters, what was I even doing? I crossed every line, and that's where the chaos truly begins. On the other side, Mona's thinking, yeah, I definitely crossed every single line back there. Next day at school, Kadwa is absent. Mona immediately panics. He got sick because of the rain, didn't he? Kido says they should go check on him. Sho replies, if I had a fever, I'd want a girl to visit me, but I'm not going to visit a girl. Logic has left the chat. Meanwhile, Asahi hears about Kadwa being sick and instantly thinks, this is my fault. Her friend tells her, you should go see him. Asahi makes excuses, no time, too busy. But then her friend starts explaining cosplay, like, outfits that make people look cool, like your basketball gear. And if you visit him, you might see Kadwa in home clothes. That instantly hits. Cut to Sho and Kido visiting Kadwa. They talk about how he's probably training seriously, and casually mention that his parents run a temple. Behind them, Mona is following like a stealth mission. She's thinking, once they leave, I'll go in. But plot twist, Asahi shows up. Mona freezes. She asks Asahi, aren't you playing basketball today? Asahi replies, day off. And relax, it's not like you two are dating. That line hits Mona hard. Sho and Kido leave, and Mona and Asahi both go inside. Kadwa wakes up and sees them and instantly panics. Mona? Asahi? Basketball? Bro short-circuits and passes out again. When he wakes up, he tells them to leave. But Mona touches his forehead to check his temperature. Asahi gets jealous immediately. Mona says she'll take care of him, and Asahi says she'll help too. So both of them go to Kadwa's room. His room? An absolute disaster. They move to the kitchen to cook for him. Mona washes rice. Asahi starts cutting apples, like she's trying to defeat them in combat. Mona stops her like, relax, we're cooking, not assassinating someone. They feed Kadwa. Asahi puts a cooling sheet on his face and completely covers it. Kadwa gets annoyed under there. But Mona is not losing today. She shows up wearing a nurse costume and starts checking his temperature. Kadwa's soul almost leaves his body. Then Asahi comes in, also wearing a nurse costume. And yeah, she looks way too good. Mona gets mad. Now both girls start doing way too much, and Kadwa somehow gets even sicker. Eventually, both girls get tired and step outside the room. Mona asks Asahi, why do you start shaking around Kadwa? Asahi replies honestly, I like him. I want to hold his hand. I want to date him. Maybe even kiss him. Wait, why did I say that out loud? She gets embarrassed and runs out to buy supplies. Inside, Kadwa falls asleep. Mona sits beside him. And suddenly Kadwa wakes up half asleep and hugs Mona. Just like that, Mona freezes. A few seconds later, Asahi comes back. And yeah, she sees everything. As Asahi is about to come back inside, we get a quick look into her past. For her, love at first sight never made sense. But ever since she saw Kadwa, yeah, she fell for him instantly. Back in the present, Kadwa falls asleep again. Mona suddenly remembers what Asahi said earlier, about wanting to kiss him, and without thinking, Mona slowly leans in. Then she freezes. Wait, what am I about to do? Before anything happens, Asahi walks in. She pulls Mona outside and says straight up, I know you like Kadwa. Mona tries to deny it. Asahi doesn't believe her. So Mona finally tells the truth. She says, I just wanted him to fall for me, because he kept ignoring me. Hearing this, Asahi realizes something. Mona is the most popular girl at school, yet she's trying so hard to win over Kadwa. And the way Mona looks when she talks about him, yeah, those are real feelings. Asahi understands. She calms down and says, I won't lose to you. That night, Kadwa wakes up, and finds a letter from Mona and Asahi. They arranged his meals for him. Next day at school, everyone shows up, except Kadwa again. Asahi says she just wants to see him healthy. Mona thinks, before, she watched him quietly, now she's stepping right into my path. Then Kido and Sho arrive and see Mona and Asahi together. They assume the two are friends. Asahi casually says she went with Mona to check on Kadwa. Mona plays it cool and says, yeah, we somehow found his place. Haruno watches all this, and thinks, Asahi is Mona's love rival, so why is Mona being friendly with her? Then, Kadwa finally comes to school. He thanks everyone for checking on him and says good morning to Mona. Mona gets shy and can't respond. Everyone sits down. Kadwa wants to talk to Mona about something important, but Mona keeps avoiding him. All day, she dodges him nonstop. Eventually, Mona collapses from exhaustion. Kadwa carries her to the nurse's office and thanks her for coming to see him. Then he leaves. Mona wakes up and thinks, wait, if he brought me here, her brain starts imagining exactly how he carried her. She gets extremely embarrassed. And with that, this anime episode ends here.